A look at a new early childhood learning center in Madison and the organization that helped make it possible this morning on For the Record. Good morning, I'm Neil Heinen. Madison is witnessing yet again the kind of civic development for which it is justifiably proud. A local social innovator partners with a local resource provider to make something good happen. The social innovator is Caire, who is about to unveil the new One City Learning Center. The resource provider is Forward Community Investments, a community development financial institution. Sally Martyniak is the president of Forward Community Investments, and Caire is, among other things, the president and CEO of One City Early Learning Center. Sally and Caire, thanks very much.
Thanks.
It's really nice to have you on. You know, I originally planned, because we haven't talked about Forward in a while, Sally, to do two separate shows here, with One City being unveiled here in March 6th.
That's
is the big announcement. And that I would then do a show on One City. But because of this relationship, it seemed like a really nice opportunity to talk about some of these things. As an introductory piece, talk about Forward Community Investments, what it does, and why this is an example of that, Sally.
Forward Community Investments, we are, among other things, a loan fund. And what we do is we work in Madison, throughout the state actually, with organizations that are working to address the disparity issues, whether they are racial, social, or economic. And we do that not only by lending, but we also do that by advising as well as by granting. And in this particular case, which we'll talk about, is actually buying a building and really digging deep into our mission and vision.
This is first time, right?
Very, very first time. Yes.
FCI's been around a while.
Been around 20 years.
And even went through a name change. Can you just give us some examples of the kind of investments that people might recognize?
First of all, we did start as the Dane Fund, and that's when we were just countywide. And we've worked with projects like the Urban League of Greater Madison, Goodman Community Center, Domestic Abuse Intervention Services, Lucia Community Education Center, Axis Community Health Centers. And so actually, if you hear one of the commonalities among all of them, it is the word community. So we truly do work within the community and really deep into the community.
This is the backbone of this community, are the very organizations that you mentioned. How does it differ from, for example, the Madison Community Foundation?
In terms of where our work is, I believe, different, is we really do take that deep dive into the community. So really, and when I say that deep dive, we really do work truly with projects. So we're not just looking to say, you know, here's a check, here's a loan. It really is, what do you need? And how do we really begin to address that need through either the resources we have or the resources someone else has.
Now, so why would that kind of a partnership be important to you, Caire?
You know, first of all, this project would be on a much slower road or path if Sally and Forward Community Investments hadn't stepped up. They bring a tremendous amount of expertise to the table. Just the other day, the media advisory that went out, helping with fundraising strategy, working with us on, you know, actually what has to happen to the building to even buy it, but get ready for it. And so it's a lot more than just actually them writing a check to us. And so they've done a lot of evaluation themselves, whether or not this is a good investment for them to make, and just going through that process with them and doing our own due diligence too. It's just helped, I think, both of us really identify this as a great project to do together.
Give us a brief history of One City, Caire.
So One City, I started out as, let me just say, I don't want to discredit the people who were there in that building before. Child Development Incorporated owned the building for many, many years.
And people will be familiar with Child Development.
Forward Community Investments purchased that building, but all of us realized that something new had to be there for the children and the families, including their board. And so this transition to this new entity called One City Early Learning Centers, it's a new center in a much fabled environment at the South Madison Daycare Facility. But our goal is to help ensure that children in South Madison are reading ready for school. We want them reading ready by kindergarten. We want their families to be strong. And so we're taking a two-generation approach to this, which is a little unique, where we're going to focus on making sure the kids are ready. But we know in order to do that, we actually have to work to ensure that the families are strong, and so they can make sure their kids get ready. So a lot of the partnerships that we'll establish and already started doing so with workforce development entities in town and eventually with employers to help families access that. We won't do that work ourselves. We will help families access that. So it's going to be a different type of a preschool, but we think it'll be a preschool everybody wants to go to.
A different type of a preschool, but not a different approach. Can you, you know how many people are watching this show saying, how many times have I heard Caire talk about this very same approach, right?
I mean, it works. It works.
But it's important because it's, I don't know how many people know the two-generation approach. It's been around for a while.
It's not brand new.
Right. However, it probably is not talked about as much as it should be in terms of its potential for rebuilding communities.
That's right. You know, a child's success first starts with their parents. And if their parents are not providing sufficient income for their families to have a stable living environment, if they don't know how to help turn the light on and educationally for their children, you know, people say read to kids. Okay, I'm reading to them, but that's not really making a difference. What else can I do to help my children? So we're going to help families who come to us unpack that. Every parent that enrolls in One City Early Learning Centers will have to enroll in our parent university. We're going to have our own internal parent university, and it'll be developmentally appropriate depending on the age of their child. We'll serve children 6 weeks old to 5 years old. We won't start with the little ones right away, but we'll build that in. But the goal will be to ensure that that parent knows exactly what to do and what not to do to ensure that that child grows and develops successfully. And when they show up to kindergarten, you know, we're all going to be bracing in first, second, and third grade when their scores come out to see, you know, did we make the difference?
Yep.
Did we ensure that that kid went to school and they're eager and ready and know some words hopefully before they get there?
What's the process, Sally, for making the kind of decision, whether forward community investment, board,
Right.
staff?
Well, actually, what had happened was we knew that One City Learning needed the building, and we knew that we had to purchase it they had to purchase it from CDI one way or another. And when we took this to our board, we also saw the fact that that One City Learning had a lot of fundraising to do for the project that would have included the building. And so we thought, how could we provide them with the loan? What could we do to really take part of that burden away from them for now?
Yeah.
And so, so what the board decided was, could we buy the building and ease that burden to One City Learning so that they could really focus their fundraising efforts on getting the money needed to open the school.
Okay,
And so,
I want to dig into that a little deeper and talk about the decision-making process when we come back right
Okay.
into this. I'd like. My guest this morning, Sally Martyniak, the president of Forward Community Investments, and Caire, who is, among other things, as I keep saying, because as you all know, he does an awful lot around here, is the president and CEO of One City Early Learning Centers. And there's a partnership here, which I think is illustrative of the work that both of these organizations do. And we were talking about the decision-making process of obviously buying the building, but even to decide, okay, One City is a place that we would like to work with. The idea that you could see areas of need there that you're good at filling. Am I right about that?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And actually what we saw was with the closing of CDI is really looking at the gap in the community when it did come to not only quality daycare, but really, as Kaleem keeps on talking about it, it is that two-generational approach. And really how that began to how that did jive with our own mission and vision of working within that area. And so what could we do to really make that happen? Not only for Kaleem, but more importantly for the community.
Yeah. Jan Loisel, who's a wonderful member of your staff, and who was helping DAYS, the Domestic Abuse Intervention Services, kind of pointed this out to me. I had written a piece about DAYS, about this community's willingness to tackle big stuff, and a visible public place for victims of domestic abuse is a big thing, and that we should be known for that.
That's right.
This approach to early childhood learning, Jan suggests, is at a similar level.
You know,
that as a community,
yeah.
can we really tackle this?
Man, it's exciting because, yes, we can. Madison has a unique ability, we would say, because we've been talking a lot of racial disparities, but to tackle all these issues, we have one of the most robust pre-college programs, actually the most robust pre-college programs helping kids get into the university. Right here at the University of Wisconsin, we have a school system now that's struggling through it, but really working hard to try to ensure that they have things in place that can help our children succeed. And a lot of people are wrapping themselves around that. We also have a robust preschool environment too. Now, unfortunately, in the zip code 53713 where we're focused, which is South Madison, only 34% of the children in that community who are under age of 5 are in high quality childcare. So we have to focus on that, but there are enough people in this community who are doing childcare well, but we want to bring a little extra twist on it. It's not just childcare, but let's prepare these children for school. And so in the community that I've engaged with over the last couple of years in the preschool community has been very open to this. When I first walked into my first preschool to ask for some advice, Christy Rios at Animal Crackers Childcare, who I hold up highly, she's right next to Falk Elementary School, she screamed, "Oh my God, he's actually gonna do it," that I was literally gonna focus on preschool. So the reception has been welcoming, the support has been tremendous. We have over 200 people who've lent a hand to this project so far. And so it's just awesome. So the whole feeling about one city coming together to wrap its arms around its children, that's what the name is about. It's already happening, and people will see that at this event too on March 6th.
Yeah. What's the risk in owning a building, Sally?
Good question.
I mean, I guess you're going to find out.
Yes.
I mean, I'm a little worried that all of a sudden you're going to be inundated with people saying, "Well, how about buying a building for me?" Right?
Yes. Well, actually, this is our first foray into it. What we want to do is to really look at what is going to be needed to make it successful, so that this is not going to become a new business model for us, but it will be something that we do have within our toolbox to be able to do.
Yeah.
And also, I just have to, one of the things that we're also looking at is community development, is how do we bring the community too into projects either like this or into community redevelopment, where the community actually has a chance to invest in these projects.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at that as a model.
Where does the money Forward Communities money come from?
We get our investments from wonderful banks like Monona State Bank. We get credit unions like Summit Credit Union, UW Credit Union, and also individuals as well as religious institutions lend us money so that we can relend it into the community.
And so what, are they willing to take a slightly lower rate of return? Is that?
Yes, they do.
Sounds like slow money, doesn't it?
A little bit like it, yes.
Yeah, but that's the way
these
community financial institutions work.
Right. And I just want to add the other thing, the other twist that we're adding to this too is that so there is a bit of an interest rate component attached to so when we sell the building to One City 2 years from now, what we hope to do is also create the social impact measures so that when One City meets them, what we'll be able to do then too is to reduce the price of the building based on social impact measures. So really, yes.
I'm really glad you said that. I don't think we made it clear that in 2 years, One City will buy the building.
Yeah, and this gives us time to put together a legitimate capital campaign to really, do it well, get people in there to help us purchase the facility, and also do the next level of renovation. We have to do some renovation starting. We have to put elevator and things like that in it to make it up, to bring it up to code, make it more user-friendly for the kids. But it buys us some time and allows us to actually focus on getting opened in September.
This coming September is
We are going to push to get this school open in September, Neil. We need a lot of resources and a lot of sweat equity, man. I need people to come over and help us move stuff out of the building into a storage facility so we can do the renovations and help putting the stuff back in. So we're going to be asking for help from the community, but we think Madison will step up and help.
All right, well,
us.
I want to talk about that help to the community. March 6th is the event unveiling this. And I want to talk about what you're going to be asking of the community and why Forward Community Investments is helping with that.
Yeah.
We're going to do that when we come back right after this.
And I do think
Madison is about to get a new early childhood learning center. It's called One City. Caire is the president and CEO, and it opens with a unique support from Forward Community Investments, which is buying the building to sell it back in 2 years. Sally Martyniak is the president of Forward Community Investments. You were talking about social impacts, Sally, and it might help to just talk a little bit more about what those are and why they're so important to the work that FCI does.
Well, first of all, when we do work with an organization, it's not just to build a building. It's not, just to, to start a program. It really is looking at what is that project going to do within the community. And it really does go beyond just the, are we going to build affordable housing for X people, but really, what do you expect to get out of that? So what is that longer term social impact? And so, for example, in One City, we'll be talking about not only the children being school ready, but also looking at, so what does it do with the parents? How many parents now have jobs that may not have had jobs before? So really looking at, again, at that deeper dive into what happens as a result of a project like One City.
Well, if there are more parents who have jobs, and if there's and if household income goes up, the disparity, the race to equity disparities go down.
That's right.
I mean, it's a direct response.
That's right.
And in fact, it probably is not a leap to say incarceration goes down as well.
But the fact that we have so many more people, companies focused on it now too, businesses are focused on it. United Way, I know, has a higher program. You have the Urban League and the YWCA, and you have businesses like American Family with Jack Salzweedl putting a lot of his own personal money into helping families, gain the skills to get into the new type of jobs that we have. We have the young upstart tech community that's here, 100 State and others that have gotten involved, and they're getting involved with this project. So all of those things show that we can create the architecture that helps children and families move through that pipeline towards success, that we can get there. And so I'm excited every single day and working like the Dickens to get this done. And I've got so many people too who are helping, giving their time, their resources to this project. It's amazing.
Well, what happens on March 6th?
Because
it's a big announcement.
Yeah,
but it's also an invitation, right?
It's an invitation to get involved.
To get involved.
Help us, we're calling it Build a Bridge to a brighter future for these children. Help us help get kids across that bridge. And we're going to talk to people specifically about how we're going to do it, but we're also going to enlist their support.
And what is it going to look like?
It's going to be an exciting presentation. We need funding. We have to raise $1.4 million to do the whole renovation that we need for the facility. We also need volunteers to help us with getting the facility ready. And so those are individuals that will help us move stuff out of the building. We need people to do that now. We're going to need individuals when we get back in it to help us move in it. We also need people that can do work around design and different things like that we'll have for the facility. What should this look like? Get involved and help us figure that out. And then once we get open, we need people to come in and read to these children. We need to have them come and play with our kids on the playground. We need people who can get involved with our parent university and provide some experience and some good advice. I had one lady who came up to me who had a challenging experience with her child care center, was doing really well, missed some key details. Those key details came to bite her. She came to me and said, "Kaleem, I want to get involved and help you with the planning. I don't want you to go down that same road again." So we have people like that who are getting involved in this project. So I would ask people, don't stop and think, how can I get involved? Just call us and we'll tell you.
You know this city so well, Sally, and the kinds of projects that have happened. 1.4 million, you must think that's a doable.
That is.
In this community at this time.
However, what I also do not want to underemphasize is the fact that what One City does need now more than ever is the money to get started.
Yes.
So the people are fabulous, the time, the talent, and so forth, but we need that treasure piece in order to really to open those doors.
But look at all the other models, right?
And we need $500,000 to break ground so we can start the actual renovation.
I mean, Days being one, but even Ronald McDonald House and the Children's. I mean, these are community-changing investments.
That's right.
And we've got a history in this community of supporting those investments.
That's right. And if people think that's a large number, it costs, there's a daycare that was built for $4 million from brand new. So it's not as expensive as people think. We got to upgrade a very beautiful facility to help get these kids in it. and then we got to hire the staff to get them going. And well, all of our staff will have bachelor's degrees, all of our regular ed teachers, in order for us to really acquire the highest level of accreditation in the state.
Yeah.
And so all of those things will go into ensuring that we provide a really quality center for kids.
I've heard you talk, Sally, about examples of community investments, even around the state, that are probably underappreciated and under-recognized. But this seems like a pretty tangible example, huh, of that kind of work. Am I right about that?
Yes. And the one thing, too, I just want to add with this, or with any project today, too, that it really is critical, the fact that we're looking at this differently in terms of how we've become involved. Kaleem is looking at this from that two-generational approach. I think that we do have larger problems in our community today, and really recognizing that some of the old approaches need to be tweaked, and we need to really think about how do we approach it as a community. And it's not just one organization, it's not just one person, but it really is coming together.
And am I right to say that this need not be all big gifts? I mean, this is an opportunity for the community.
Our first campaign was a $10 campaign.
Yep.
Our first gift was from, I get emotional, my mother's best friend's daughter, Judy.
Yep.
She gave me $100,
Yep.
man. Sorry. I didn't want to get like that on television, but
Well, I mean, this
lot.
is an opportunity for everybody in the community, including people who are going to benefit from this directly.
when people see who's there on Friday, they'll see mothers coming with some of their kids, and they'll see people who have extraordinary amount of means all in the same room trying to do this for these kids. And to me, that's a blessing to be involved with it.
Very cool. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
We're going to come back and wrap up For the Record right after this. My thanks to Sally and Kaleem, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you next Sunday on For the Record.